London. The year is 1761. The city hums with anticipation. Horse-drawn carriages clatter along cobbled streets. Candles flicker in grand halls, and the Thames gleams beneath a restless sky. In the heart of Britain, a new queen is arriving. Her name is Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. Few know her. Fewer still understand the secrets she carries. She has journeyed hundreds of miles from a small German duchy to the most powerful monarchy in the world. She is young, just 17. Her eyes are wide, her posture regal, her fate entwined with a nation's destiny. Crowds gather outside St. James's Palace. They whisper about the new queen, her accent, her manners, her appearance. Some say she is plain. Others see beauty. But behind every comment, there is curiosity. Charlotte steps into the royal spotlight. She weds King George III, a union arranged for politics, sealed in ceremony, and watched by the world. Overnight, she becomes Queen of Great Britain. History records her as consort to a king, mother to 15 children, patron of music and art, guardian of royal tradition. But history also whispers questions. Who was Charlotte? Really? Was she merely a royal fixture? Or something more? Did she carry secrets in her blood, her lineage, her legacy? Centuries later, scholars and historians debate her ancestry. Some say Queen Charlotte may have had African heritage, a claim that stirs fascination, controversy, and hope. Portraits are scrutinized. Genealogies are traced. Her features, her nose, her lips, her skin are discussed in hushed tones. Was she Europe's first Black queen? Or is this story a myth, a legend, a mirror for our own desires? Queen Charlotte's life unfolds against the backdrop of revolution. She witnesses the birth of America, the storms of France, the turmoil of her husband's mind. She shapes the royal court, influences the arts, and survives in a world of intrigue. Yet her story is more than crowns and palaces. It is a story of resilience, adaptation, and quiet strength. As the years pass, Queen Charlotte becomes a symbol, a figure who links Black history to global events, who challenges assumptions, and invites us to reconsider what royalty truly means. Today, her name is revived. Shows like Bridgerton spark new interest. Her legacy is debated, her ancestry re-examined. She stands at the crossroads of history and myth, waiting for her story to be told. This is the story of Queen Charlotte, a queen, a mother, a patron, a woman of mystery. The quiet force behind a turbulent era. Step into her world. Follow her journey. Discover the queen who changed history and whose legacy still shapes our own. Long before Charlotte stepped into the halls of British royalty, her story began in the forests and fields of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, a small duchy in northern Germany. Quiet, remote, but not untouched by the currents of European power. It is the year 1744. A child is born, Sophia Charlotte, the youngest daughter of Duke Charles Louis Frederick and Princess Elizabeth Albertine. Her family is noble, but not wealthy. Mecklenburg-Strelitz is a land of modest courts, simple traditions, and quiet ambition. The duchy's rulers are respected, but far from the centers of European grandeur. Charlotte grows up in a world shaped by discipline. Her parents instill in her the values of duty, service, and modesty. She is educated by tutors. She learns languages, history, music, science. Her mind is quick, her curiosity deep. Charlotte is not raised for power, but for usefulness. Her family expects her to marry well, to represent Mecklenburg-Strelitz with dignity. She spends her days in the gardens, reading, playing music, and watching the seasons change. Her childhood is peaceful, but she senses the world beyond her borders. Stories of royal courts, political intrigue, and distant wars reach her ears. She is taught to be patient, to listen, to observe. Her manners are refined, her posture graceful. Charlotte's family is cautious. The duchy sits at the crossroads of empires. Alliances are carefully managed, every marriage a negotiation. Her mother, Princess Elizabeth Albertine, guides her with quiet wisdom. She teaches Charlotte the art of diplomacy, the importance of loyalty, and the subtle power of kindness. As Charlotte grows, her future is shaped by expectation. She sees sisters and cousins wed to princes, sent to distant lands, carrying their families' hopes with them. Yet Charlotte's childhood is not untouched by loss. Her father dies when she is young, leaving the duchy in the hands of her older brother. Her world becomes smaller, her responsibilities greater. She turns to music, science, and reading for comfort. She develops a lifelong love for botany, studying flowers, mapping gardens, and learning from the natural world. Charlotte's education is unusual for a young woman. She is encouraged to think, to question, to imagine. Rumors of her family's lineage swirl. Some whisper about distant ancestors, about connections to Portugal, about the complex tapestry of European nobility. But in Mecklenburg-Strelitz, Charlotte is simply a daughter, a sister, a young woman preparing for a future she cannot predict. Then, news arrives. King George III of Britain is seeking a bride. The search is urgent, the criteria strict. He wants a queen who is virtuous, honest, and untainted by scandal. Charlotte's name is proposed. She is chosen for her reputation, her education, and her character. She is to leave everything she knows, to journey to England, to become queen. As she prepares for her departure, Charlotte faces the unknown. She carries the hopes of her family, the legacy of her duchy, and the quiet promise of a life that will change the course of history. The summer of 1761. Charlotte boards a carriage, leaves the familiar forests of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, and begins the journey that will make her queen. England awaits. The kingdom is vast, rich, its cities alive with ambition. But Charlotte arrives as a stranger, her accent thick, her customs unfamiliar. Her first view of London is overwhelming. Towering palaces, grand avenues lined with carriages, the scent of coal and river water. Crowds press near, eager to glimpse the new queen. She is greeted with ceremony. The royal court assembles, nobles bow, musicians play, and Charlotte is enveloped by tradition. The marriage to King George III is swift, arranged by ministers, negotiated in secret. Charlotte and George meet for the first time on the day of their wedding. He is 22, she is 17. Their union is political, but their fate will be personal. The ceremony is grand. St. James's Palace shines with candlelight. Dignitaries from across Europe attend. Charlotte is dressed in white silk, her nerves hidden behind a regal smile. She is crowned, her title sealed, Queen of Great Britain. The days that follow are a whirlwind. Charlotte moves into Buckingham House. later known as Buckingham Palace. She learns the customs of the English court. The etiquette is strict, the rules unspoken, yet binding. She struggles with the language. Her German is precise, her English uncertain. She practices daily, listens to courtiers, studies letters and speeches. Charlotte faces scrutiny. Londoners gossip. They debate her appearance, her manner, her accent. Some say she is too plain for a queen. Others marvel at her youth and dignity. She finds solace in her husband. George III is thoughtful, earnest, determined to rule with fairness. He supports Charlotte, encourages her adaptation. Their relationship grows, bound by duty, but warmed by affection. Charlotte's first challenge is motherhood. She gives birth to her first child, the Prince of Wales, and then to 14 more. Her children become her anchor, her purpose. She finds strength in routine. She rises early, writes letters, manages her household. She studies English history, learns the politics of her new nation. Charlotte's adjustment is gradual. She embraces British customs, but keeps pieces of her German heritage. She brings German musicians to court, introduces new styles to the royal gardens, and inspires a blend of cultures. Her presence reshapes the monarchy. She is not a figurehead, but a force. She advises George, supports his reforms, and quietly guides the royal family. Yet Charlotte never forgets her origins. She writes home, sends gifts to her siblings, and remembers the quiet duchy that shaped her. In the years to come, Charlotte will face greater trials. Political upheaval, personal loss, and the relentless gaze of history. But in these first steps, she lays the foundation for a reign that will change Britain and leave questions that echo into our own time. The palace at Kew. A morning mist drifts across the gardens, the air fragrant with roses, the sound of children echoing through the halls. Within these walls, Queen Charlotte finds her place. No longer the uncertain bride from Mecklenburg, she now stands as the heart of the British monarchy. Her days begin at sunrise. She oversees a bustling household, giving instructions to staff, reviewing letters, and planning each detail of royal life. Charlotte's influence is subtle but profound. She advises King George, her counsel steadying his reforms. He trusts her judgment, relies on her discretion. she becomes a patron of the arts. Under her encouragement, the royal court blossoms. She welcomes composers, painters, and intellectuals. A young Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart performs for her, his music filling the drawing rooms with wonder. Charlotte fosters a passion for botany. She transforms Kew Gardens, introducing rare plants and flowers. She supports scientific inquiry, corresponds with leading thinkers, and encourages a spirit of curiosity in her children. Motherhood defines her reign. 15 children, each a future prince or princess, each a thread in the fabric of Europe. She is a devoted mother. She reads to her children, teaches them music, oversees their tutors. She insists on discipline, but tempers it with affection. Her daughters confide in her. Her sons seek her approval. She weathers their illnesses, their scandals, and their ambitions. Charlotte maintains a delicate balance. She must embody virtue, dignity, and strength. She is watched by the court, by Parliament, by the public. Her every gesture is symbolic. Her presence at state occasions, her patronage of hospitals, her support of the poor. Behind closed doors, she is a woman of feeling. She writes tender letters to friends and family. She mourns the loss of children, the strains of duty, the isolation of royal life. Her relationship with George is complex. They share moments of intimacy, but also distance. The burdens of monarchy press upon them. As queen, Charlotte becomes a model for the nation. Her piety is noted, her morality praised. She sets the tone for the court, insisting on decorum, modesty, and charity. She is not untouched by criticism. Pamphleteers question her foreign origins. Caricaturists exaggerate her features. Rumors swirl about her ancestry, her loyalties, her influence. Yet Charlotte endures. She is steady, resourceful, and resilient. Within the palace, she builds a world of learning, music, and family. Outside, she becomes a symbol of continuity, a figure who anchors Britain through revolution, war, and change. Queen Charlotte's role as consort is not just ceremonial. She is a partner in power, a mother to a dynasty, and a quiet architect of her nation's future. In the great salons of Buckingham House, the air shimmers with music and conversation. Queen Charlotte presides, her eyes bright as she listens to the notes of a symphony. her mind alive to the possibilities of art and intellect. She is more than a figurehead. She is a patron, a catalyst, a force for culture in Britain. Charlotte's court becomes a haven for creativity. She welcomes musicians from across Europe. A young Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart performs for her at just 8 years old, astonishing the royal family. She encourages composers, supports concerts, and fosters the Royal Academy of Music. Her patronage helps shape the sound of an era. Charlotte's influence extends to painting and sculpture. She commissions portraits, collects works from artists like Thomas Gainsborough and Sir Joshua Reynolds. Her image is immortalized, sometimes idealized, sometimes debated. She supports the Royal Academy of Arts, encourages exhibitions, and invites artists to court. Her taste influences fashion, decor, even furniture. Charlotte's passion for botany transforms gardens. She expands Kew Gardens, introduces rare plants, and studies scientific texts. She corresponds with renowned botanists, fosters research, and inspires her children to value nature. Her love of science is not just personal. She encourages innovation. Inventors visit her court. She funds experiments, supports hospitals, and contributes to medical advancement. Philanthropy becomes a cornerstone of Charlotte's reign. She is deeply involved in charity. She supports the Foundling Hospital, helps orphaned children, and gives to the poor. Charlotte's generosity is quiet, often anonymous. She believes in duty, service, and the obligation of royalty to uplift those in need. Her influence is felt across Britain. Artists and musicians flourish. Scientists make discoveries. Communities benefit from her philanthropy. Charlotte's cultural legacy is enduring. She helped shape the Georgian era, setting standards for taste, learning, and compassion. Her patronage inspires the next generation. Her daughters become musicians, painters, and philanthropists. Yet Charlotte is never far from controversy. Her portraits are scrutinized. Scholars debate her features, her ancestry, her place in history. Some claim her image reveals traces of African heritage, sparking new conversations. Others argue for tradition, for the European ideals she embodies. Charlotte's legacy is not just in the grand halls, but in the lives she touched, the art she inspired, the science she advanced. As the Georgian era flourishes, Queen Charlotte stands at the center, a patron, a philanthropist, a queen whose impact outlasts her reign. The corridors of Windsor Castle grow heavy. Whispers echo from chamber to chamber. Shadows lengthen, and the Queen's heart is burdened. King George III, once vigorous and resolute, begins to falter. Strange symptoms emerge. Episodes of confusion, outbursts, and long periods of withdrawal. Physicians debate, prescribing treatments, bleeding, and strange remedies. The royal household is tense, uncertain, afraid. Charlotte watches, her concern deepening. She sits beside George, reading poems, playing music, hoping to calm his mind. But the king's illness worsens. He is often incoherent, sometimes violent. Charlotte protects him, shields the children, and manages the affairs of court. Rumors spread across Britain. Pamphlets circulate. Satirical prints mock the royal family. Critics blame Charlotte, suggesting she is too controlling, too foreign, too distant. Parliament debates the king's fitness. The Regency Act is passed. Charlotte becomes the guardian of her husband, her authority challenged, her privacy invaded. Inside the palace, family tensions grow. Her eldest son, the Prince of Wales, clashes with Charlotte. He resents her influence, her guidance, her attempts to shelter George. Charlotte's daughters confide in her, but struggle with their own roles. Some yearn for independence, others for marriage, but all are constrained by royal expectations. Charlotte bears these burdens silently. Her letters reveal exhaustion, grief, and longing for peace. She mourns the loss of children. Several die young, their deaths casting long shadows. She feels the weight of duty, even as her family fractures. The public gaze is relentless. Charlotte is scrutinized. Her every gesture, every word, every portrait. Caricatures exaggerate her features, her ancestry, her supposed coldness. She faces criticism from all sides. Some accuse her of being too German, too strict, too conservative. Others question her place in the royal family, her ability to unite Britain. Yet Charlotte endures. She draws strength from faith, from music, from her gardens. She becomes a pillar for her children, a guardian for George, and a steady hand for the monarchy. Her resilience shapes the royal family, ensures its survival. As the years pass, Charlotte's role changes. She is no longer at the center of power, but remains the heart of her family. She holds them together, even as the world changes around her. Her struggles are not forgotten. They become part of her legacy, a testament to perseverance, dignity, and strength. Queen Charlotte's life is marked by adversity, but in the face of illness, loss, and relentless scrutiny, she remains a queen, steadfast, compassionate, and enduring. Centuries pass, but Queen Charlotte's image endures. Her face gazes out from grand oil paintings, her likeness minted on coins, her silhouette familiar in the history books of Britain. Yet behind the brocade, behind the powdered wigs and the regal bearing, a question lingers, one that has ignited curiosity, scholarship, and controversy. Who truly was Queen Charlotte? Was she, as some suggest, Britain's first Black queen? Or is this story a legend, a myth shaped by the lens of modern longing? The debate begins with portraits. Some note her full lips, her broad nose, her complexion described in letters as mulatto or Moorish. Artists like Alan Ramsay are said to have captured these features faithfully, perhaps as a quiet protest, perhaps as an honest rendering of the Queen herself. Genealogists pore over royal family trees. They trace Charlotte's ancestry back through German and Portuguese nobility to the 15th century Portuguese noblewoman, Madrigana. Madrigana is described in some records as Moorish, a term that could mean North African, Berber, or simply not European. Could this distant lineage, through centuries of intermarriage and shifting identities, have left its mark on a British queen? Historian Mario de Valdes y Cocum reignites the discussion. He argues that Charlotte's ancestry was African, her features a silent testimony to a hidden history within the royal family. Others push back. They point to the complexities of genealogy, the unreliability of portraits, the changing meanings of words like Moor and mulatto in the 18th century. Some art historians note that court painters often idealized or stylized their subjects. Physical features could be downplayed or exaggerated, depending on fashion, politics, or the desires of the sitter. And yet, the idea of Queen Charlotte's Black ancestry resonates. It inspires artists, writers, and communities searching for connection and representation in the highest echelons of power. portraits are re-examined. Her image is claimed as a symbol of diversity, a challenge to the narrative of an all-white European aristocracy. In the popular imagination, Charlotte becomes a bridge between continents, between histories, between the realities of race and the romance of royalty. The debate spills into modern media. Television series like Bridgerton cast Queen Charlotte as a woman of color, sparking new waves of interest and conversation. Some celebrate this portrayal as an act of reclamation, a way to highlight the hidden threads of Black history woven through Europe's royal tapestry. Others caution against reading too much into ancestry, warning of the dangers of projecting contemporary ideas onto the past. The truth, perhaps, lies somewhere in between. Charlotte's ancestry is a mystery. Her story, a lens through which we explore questions of identity, power, and belonging. Her legacy is complex. She was a queen, a consort, a mother, and a patron. She may have been a link between Africa and Europe, or she may simply reflect the diverse, interwoven story of humanity itself. In the end, the speculation about Queen Charlotte's ancestry is not just about bloodlines. It is about the stories we tell, the histories we recover, and the ways we seek to see ourselves in the past. Queen Charlotte remains an enigma, a queen shrouded in myth, yet rooted in the very real struggles and triumphs of her time. The echoes of Queen Charlotte's life reach far beyond the gilded walls of palaces and the pages of royal ledgers. Her influence lingers in Britain's gardens, in the art that lines museum walls, in the music that once filled her drawing rooms. As the 19th century dawns, her children and grandchildren marry into nearly every royal house in Europe. She is called the grandmother of Europe, her bloodline stretching from London to Berlin, from Moscow to Madrid. Her commitment to science lives on at Kew Gardens, now a world-renowned center for botanical research. Her legacy in music and the arts shapes generations of British culture. Hospitals, towns, and even a city in North Carolina bear her name. Charlotte, her legacy echoing across continents. A reminder that the Queen's presence was felt far beyond the throne. But it is her place in Black history that continues to spark conversation. For those seeking representation in the highest circles, Queen Charlotte becomes a symbol, proof that the story of Europe is more diverse, more interconnected than tradition admits. In classrooms, her portrait is studied with new eyes. Children see in her the possibility of Black royalty, the presence of African ancestry in the heart of empire. Historians debate. Genealogists trace family lines. But for many, the power of Charlotte's legacy lies in what she represents: a challenge to the monolithic image of European nobility, an invitation to imagine a broader, richer history. Her story becomes a touchstone. Activists invoke her name. Artists reimagine her image. Writers tell her story anew. And then comes the modern Renaissance. On television screens around the world, Queen Charlotte is reborn. In the hit series Bridgerton, she is portrayed as a woman of color, regal, sharp, unapologetically complex. Audiences are captivated. A new generation discovers her, questions the boundaries of history and fiction, and reimagines what it means to be royal. The show's popularity reignites debate. Can a queen with possible African ancestry have truly ruled Britain? What does it say about the stories we inherit, the images we preserve, the histories we claim? For many, Queen Charlotte becomes a mirror. She reflects our hopes for inclusion, our hunger for untold stories, our desire to see ourselves in the grandeur and complexity of the past. Her life inspires questions more than answers. Was she aware of the debates that would surround her image centuries later? Did she ever imagine her face would become a symbol, not just for a nation, but for all those seeking a place in history? In the end, Queen Charlotte's legacy is not confined to ancestry or art. It lives in the way she navigated a world of expectation, in the gardens she nurtured, the music she loved, the family she guided through triumph and tragedy. Her story is unfinished, open to new discoveries, new interpretations, new dreams. Queen Charlotte, a queen for her time, a queen for our time, a queen for all those who search for themselves in the tapestry of history. The story of Queen Charlotte is not just a tale of crowns, carriages, and courts. It is the story of history's shadows and light, of the mysteries that linger in portraits, in family trees, in the spaces between what is known and what is imagined. In the quiet of the palace gardens, one can almost hear her footsteps, the hush of silk, the gentle hum of a lullaby, the distant echo of Mozart on the harpsichord. She was a queen, yes, a consort, a mother, a patron. But she was also a woman who endured rumors, weathered loss, and carried the hopes of generations. Her life is a mosaic, pieces of joy and sorrow, duty and desire, legacy and myth. We look at her portraits and ask, what do we see? a symbol of empire, a mother of Europe, a woman of color in a world that so often erased difference? The answers are many, and they shift with the questions we bring. If history is a mirror, then Queen Charlotte's reflection is as complex as our own. She reminds us that the past is not a single story, but a tapestry woven with fact and legend, truth and hope, evidence and imagination. We may never know the full truth of her ancestry, but her legacy invites us to look deeper, to ask whose stories have been hidden, whose faces left unpainted, whose voices lost in the halls of power. Queen Charlotte is more than the speculation around her heritage. She is a symbol of possibility, that even in the most unlikely places, diversity and resilience can flourish. Her gardens still bloom. Her music still plays. Her name still inspires. From the city of Charlotte in America to the halls of Buckingham Palace, to the hearts of those who seek themselves in history's reflection. Each generation returns to her story, finding new meanings, new questions, new hope. As the sunlight fades on another day in the palace gardens, we are left with this: the power of a life, the endurance of a legacy, the invitation to dream beyond what we think we know. So let us keep searching, keep questioning, keep telling the stories that matter. For in the life of Queen Charlotte, we glimpse not just a queen, but the possibility of history itself, forever open, forever unfinished, forever ours to explore.